Welcome back, one and all, here to Torch News Roundup number 112. Our first live broadcast in over a week. We had a little time off. Live broadcast number 121 this afternoon. On the only way to spend your Saturday here with us on Johnny Torch Live. I want to welcome you into the show, as you can hear in the background there. And since I don't make any money from these anyway, I don't think I have to worry about getting demonetized. But some exciting news that we haven't talked about yet regarding the original Flash TV series. I don't know if you can hear it. But that was Danny Elfman's iconic Flash theme song for the original 90s show. Love that theme song. Love that show. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But first, some of the particulars we got to get out of the way. I'm your host, Johnny Torch, of course, from Johnny Torch Live. And here we are atop the Torch Tower, high above the stately metropolis below. I want to wish everybody a happy Halloween, a little posthumous Halloween greeting. We took last week off. There really wasn't a lot to talk about. Had a lot of work to do on my book, The Adventures of Bullets Bourbon, issue number 5. I did meet my schedule of finishing the coloring by the end of October, so that is great. Going to look at the lettering now, which is sort of a new venture. I haven't done digital lettering before. I'm going to attempt to do that myself. I'll have to do everything in-house for the books. Excuse me. So welcome in, and thank you for joining us on the only way to spend your Saturday. But we're doing it a day early today because we get so much stuff to talk about that I just couldn't wait another day. So yeah, let's start off with the first order of business here. As we just mentioned, John Wesley Shipp will be returning to the mantle of the Flash. Yes, that's right. On the crossover event, Elseworlds, this year on the CW. This, of course, is the crossover event that will introduce Batwoman to the CW Arrowverse. And we already seen some interesting photos of Grant Gustin, who's going to be Green Arrow, as well as Stephen Amell going to be the Flash in this continuity. Superman is going to be wearing the black costume. So some interesting things are going to be happening in this crossover. And it seems a strange place to try to work in John Wesley Shipp's 90s Flash, of all places, when you have some crazy stuff like that going on. But I guess he's the one that's going to have to right the ship, because something has gone wrong here. I don't really know. That's the interesting thing about this. What is going to cause this bizarre change of events? The sort of a Flashpoint style. They already did Flashpoint, so this is not going to be Flashpoint, but some bizarre changing of history. And I'm thinking that Barry Allen, the original Barry Allen, is going to have to come and set things right. Of course, the costume looks awesome. The costume looks very much like the original 90s version of the show. Of course, my all-time favorite show, let alone all-time favorite comic book show. John Wesley Shipp's performance as Barry Allen, the Flash, is one of my top 5 favorite actor performances of a superhero. I've got those ranking lists somewhere in my repertoire, so you can check that out if you are interested. But again, I have no idea what this is going to be about, but we waited a long time for this, us old school Flash fans. And the 90s Flash was just such a great show. And part of it was because it was very much a fantasy. They didn't really feel like they had to play grim and gritty and dark and angsty. They went with the 4-color comics. One can argue how closely the show resembled the comic, particularly at that time when Wally West was the Flash, but I still loved it, completely and unreservedly. And of course, we have no details on this plot as to whether Amanda Pays will be showing up as Tina McGee. Might she be Tina West at this point? we're kind of left wondering. And Alex Desert, of course, Julio Mendez, will he return? Hopefully. Um, Officer Bellows, of course, the actor. I can't remember his name right now, but has also taken part in the Flash series, the Grant Gustin series in the past. So he's probably going to be, making an appearance, I would imagine. It's doubtful that Mark Hamill's Trickster will show up in this one, but won't that be great if we can get a, a Trickster family reunion and involve John Wesley Shipp's Flash? That would be my dream come true. We could get that both storylines going in one story arc. That would be great. I'm hoping this is going to, get John Wesley Shipp's 90s Flash boot in the door. I'm hoping this is going to be what will give him a bigger role in the series. And I don't really think that a whole lot is going to come of this, unfortunately, because we already have John Wesley Shipp as Jay Garrett, and they really haven't done a whole lot with him. I think he was in one episode last season. They really haven't done a whole lot with him. So I don't want to get my hopes up that he's going to have a recurring role in the show as 90s Flash. But if this could get his boot in the door, if this could be the introduction where he, will sort of play a Jay Garrett role in the show, maybe, and just show up whenever Barry needs assistance and guidance, that would be great. My biggest fear, however, is, of course, that they do a Last Jedi. You can ruin these things. Sometimes it's best not to go back if these properties are put in the wrong hands. From what I understand, I think the showrunners of the Flash seem to be respectful of what's come before. I know Supergirl; they're pretty respectful of the Superman mythos, the Christopher Reeve Superman legacy, and they seem to be really respectful of that. So I would think that they are going to be respectful to the Flash. But my biggest fear is they're going to give Ship the Last Jedi treatment and have him go out the way that Barry Allen went out in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Now, for those of you who's never read that story, and it's hard to believe that nobody's at least heard of the story. Spoiler warning: Barry Allen gives his life running, I believe, on the cosmic treadmill or something, and I haven't read it in decades at this point. But anyway, he gives his life and dies, as many of the characters did in that storyline. They whittled down many of their characters. Supergirl being another that gave their life in this great battle they had against what I believe was the Anti-Monitor, and we'll talk about that in a second. But there's reason to believe this might be the swan song for the 90s Flash. And I certainly hope that's not the case because I love Ship's portrayal. I loved the original show. I really don't want to see them bring him back just to kill him the same way that they did Luke Skywalker and, Han Solo. There seems to be a fetish at this point in fantasy for, the fandoms to get ticked off by killing off the the original characters and in favor for the next generation, and it's just not right. I just hope that's not what they do. So again, yeah, here's John Wesley Shipp. Looks great in costume as the Flash. That background looks almost like it hasn't changed from from the 90s show. And let's see, we got another image here from Stephen Amell's Twitter, I think, or Instagram, of Amell in costume as the Flash next to Shipp's Flash. Of course, Shipp's costume is one of the best superhero costumes. They haven't been able to improve on the Flash costume. If anything, they should give that costume to Gustin and see if they could, make it to his dimensions. Of course, it's a bit of a bulkier costume than they try to give Gustin, because Gustin, they're trying to make him look more of like a runner, a speed racer or something from track and field. But anyway, I'm really excited about this. That's why I led the show with this. What do you think about this? Is this going to be a blast from the past that everyone's going to be thrilled and enjoy? Or is this, as I fear, possibly going to do away with the 90s Flash and be Ship's swan song? Because, in all honesty, I don't think Ship really wants to have an ongoing role. I mean, he's good for the guest appearances. I'm hoping this is going to be more than that. Do you think this will be more than that, or do you think that this is probably just, a nice cameo, or, whatever way you want to refer to it, to the fans for their long standing admiration for the show? Because we really haven't had anything. I mean, most shows when they end, there's some kind of continuation. There was never a comic book about 90s Flash. There was never an animated series about 90s Flash. Um, there really wasn't anything to continue on with the legacy. So this is pretty much our first real taste of the continuation of the 90s Flash legacy, a show that was canceled way too soon after its first season. I was seriously heartbroken over it when it was canceled as a kid. Uh, the only other thing I have to say about this before we wrap up is another thing that concerns me is I think they may be pulling the 90s Flash card specifically because the Arrowverse is in trouble, ratings wise. They've said that the Flash TV show, which is arguably the most popular of the CW Arrowverse, has had ratings trouble this season. Of course, for the CW, anything is good, really. As long as you got, I don't know, a million viewers, they'll keep it on. And I'm sure that these shows are going to do that. But this does seem to me like they're trying to pull a lot of, comic stuff, hoping to get the disenfranchised viewers hooked. Because we've got Superman back, he's going to have the black costume. We've got Lois Lane. We've got 90s Flash. We're going to bring Batwoman in. And, of course, the implication is that maybe the Bat universe will be starting to trickle in. We might get, probably not Batman, but maybe Nightwing or something. Uh, Probably not that either, because they've got a Robin on Titans. I don't know if he's going to become Nightwing there because I'm not watching that show right now. But anyway, it's interesting to see if this is going to be just a ratings grab. Trying to get their fledgling ratings to go up, or their floundering ratings to go up. Is it just a gimmick? Hope not, but we'll see. All right, so let's check this out. Let's see who the villain of the piece is for the Elseworlds crossover this season. It is going to be the Monitor. Now, again, I'm not too familiar with. I think this is a character from the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Because I remember them talking about the Anti-Monitor. I haven't read that comic in, for a decade. But LaMonica Garrett is playing Mar Novu, the Monitor from the comics in this year's Elseworlds crossover. And it's an interesting looking character. Like I said, doesn't ring a bell really to me, but it's good that they're going that full four-color comic look here. He seems very Thanos-esque. And that might be the right thing to do. That might be the way to go here, is to try to up the comic book portion of the series. Get us a little more into the the comic side of things, because we've been dealing with like aliens and other planets and this and that. I think if they deal with like a real comic booky villain like Thanos type, that'll probably be fun. And of course, I was Thanos for Halloween as well. So you can check my Twitter page if you want to check out how I looked in my Thanos costume, because it was pretty sweet. All right, so we're gonna stay in the Arrowverse for one more. Oh, let me check out my notes for this. It says here The Monitor is described as an extraterrestrial being of infinite power. And while we're still not certain what role he'll play in this year's Arrowverse crossover event, it's a safe bet that he'll have a hand in whatever reality-bending adventure our heroes get caught up in. So, again, that sounds pretty interesting. Not too sure about the storyline, but interesting nonetheless. Okay, some sad news here regarding Jesse L. Martin. Now, of course, Joe West on the Flash series. I noticed in the most recent episode, well, I didn't see this week's episode, but I'm talking about last week's episode if you're watching this live. But in the episode where Cicada broke into the house and tied up Joe to the chair and stuff, I found it very, odd. And it was kind of telling that there was something wrong with Jesse L. Martin's health, because he basically remained seated the entirety of the episode. And seeing that he was being accosted by, a masked man, it seemed a little strange to me. But apparently, Jesse L. Martin is injured, and thankfully, it's not a serious illness, which was my original concern. That maybe he had some kind of, serious illness or something that would, debilitate his strength to do any kind of, active part in the story. But apparently, let's see. Jesse L. Martin will be taking a medical leave of absence from the series within the next few weeks. In the official statement, the CW said Jesse Martin is taking a medical leave of absence from The Flash. We wish him a full and speedy recovery and look forward to his return as Detective Joe West. According to TV Line, Martin suffered a pretty major back injury over the summer hiatus, limiting his mobility, which explains why almost all of his scenes this season have featured him in a sitting position. It also explains why he spent the vast majority of his time at home, save for his brief appearance at the precinct, and why he hasn't taken a particularly active role in Team Flash's hunt for Cicada. Martin's absence will be addressed on the series in the coming weeks, but details on his temporary exit are being kept under wraps for now. A timetable on his return has also not been given, but considering the nature of his injury, it seems that he may end up missing a good chunk of the season, which is 18 episodes left to air. So yeah, very, very disappointing that we're not going to see much more Joe West. I think he's very much the heart of the show, and I always love his scenes with Grant Gustin. And he's gotten less of them as the show has gone on. They've, because he's married now, and they just had a baby, him and Cecile. But it would be a very different show without him. Thankfully, he's not being written out, and hopefully, I'm guessing back injuries are pretty serious, so I'm guessing he's probably not going to be in the rest of the season. Whatever time they write him out, he's probably not going to come back. If anything, maybe for the very last two or three episodes. But even that would probably be, he would still have to be in a sitting position. All right, so yeah, let me know what you think about the situation here for Jesse L. Martin and Joe West. All right, let's take a look now at, as we move right along here, let's stick with the television stuff. Let's stick with the television side of things. We're going to look at the streaming service, the Disney streaming service, which is apparently they're going to really load this baby up with some sweet, Marvel MCU character-driven shows. Now, we already heard that Tom Hiddleston's Loki and Elizabeth Olsen's Wanda is going to get their own shows, limited shows. I don't know how many hours. I think they said 6 hours worth of shows, which is only basically like 2 hours, two, maybe two movies, 2 3-hour movies, maybe. I don't know. But according to Slash Film, they're saying that the Vision will have a large role in the Scarlet Witch series. Goody. I am happy about that because, as I said, my biggest, excitement for the Scarlet Witch is seeing the Scarlet Witch and Vision relationship. And we've seen it grow over the course of the Avengers movies and Civil War, of course. But with apparently with Infinity War, it looks like it's come to an end. Probably not, not necessarily, because we have a show for the Scarlet Witch that will probably most likely feature the Vision, according to Slash Film anyway. According to Peter Serreta, the other thing I'm hearing is that Paul Bettany's Vision will have a large part in the previously reported Scarlet Witch show. In fact, it may actually be a series more about the superpowered couple than just Wanda. According to Variety, Empire writer Malcolm Spellman has been hired to pen a new limited series for Disney's streaming service that'll focus on both Marvel heroes who were last seen in Infinity War. So, what do you think this is going to be about? Is this going to be cooking with Vision and Wanda? Is that what this series is going to be about? I don't know who's going to be the antagonist. If there is indeed an MCU that will include the X-Men, will this somehow factor in Magneto? Will they somehow bring back Quicksilver? There's a lot of interesting possibilities here. Will this focus on their relationship and the birth of their children, which is a long, convoluted story in the comics, but a streaming service might be the right place to do that storyline. And of course, they probably can do on a TV budget, Vision. I don't know, 2 or 3 appearances of Vision, and then probably the rest of the time we'll have Paul Bettany and the human guise of Vision. In fact, that might be the reason why they had Paul Bettany, looking human as Vision for much of Infinity War, was to set up that they can do this, that they can have both of them in a series and not have to spend big budget on Bettany's Vision outfit and costume. So, what do you think about that? Excited? Is this something you're looking forward to? I'm looking forward to it, especially now because I really didn't know what they could do with Scarlet Witch on her own, particularly after Infinity War. We're guessing this is going to be set after Avengers 4. It could very well be set in between events of, Civil War and Infinity War. I think it probably will be after, because I think what they're trying to do is I think they're trying to retool the MCU, movies. They're trying to retool that for the next generation, and they're going to try to keep some of the original characters around and give them some spotlight in a different area. I'm excited about this because it sounds like it's a lot better than what they're doing with Netflix. Those shows I am not a big fan of. I like Agents of Shield, but even there, they they're completely segregated from the MCU at large. So if and it's a very good possibility, I'd say at this point, that when when Agents of Shield is canceled, probably after this season, I think it'll go to the Disney streaming service, and we'll probably see some real decent cross pollination between Agents of Shield and these new streaming services. Is that something you would like to see, or do you think they should just leave Agents of Shield alone as its own little corner of the Marvel universe, have it remain on ABC, which I think they're getting dangerously close to pulling the plug on Agents of Shield. I want to keep saying Avengers on Agents of Shield, and this season is probably I'm guessing the last, on ABC. And I think that it does have life left in it though. But I think it's for the best that they do move it to a streaming service and be able to capitalize on it being part of the MCU. All right, so let me know what you think about the Scarlet Witch and Vision series. All right, now that is not the only bit of business that we have for the upcoming streaming service. They're really ambitious. That's one thing I've got to give them. They're wanting to leave the DC Universe streaming service in the dust. But they have also announced that we will have a Bucky slash Falcon series. Yes, Bucky and Falcon together again. Again, does this betray the fact that they're going to survive? Of course, they're going to survive. We know they're going to survive, and because they probably couldn't do this in between Civil War and Infinity War because Bucky was frozen during that whole time. Didn't come out of cryogenics until Black Panther film. So let's see. Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie are expected to reprise their Marvel Cinematic Universe roles as Bucky Barnes and Sam Wilson, respectively. Last month, news broke that several news. See, that's what it is. They that's what they call garbage tier media. Nobody gives a second look at these things. They make my job harder because I have to clarify their typographical errors. Several new series were being developed for the new streaming service, which would give the spotlight to MCU characters that have yet to, and presumably won't, be the focus of their own standalone movies. The budgets for the shows weren't revealed, but they are said to be hefty, rivaling those of a major studio production. Kevin Feige is expected to be heavily involved with the shows. So again, not a whole lot to talk about here, but I think I even said, if you're going to give a series, a streaming service series, to any of the MCU characters, give it to Anthony Mackie, give it to the Falcon. He's really a great character. I really enjoy him in the movies, and I really would like to see more of him. And you know that he's not going to be able to carry his own movie. I thought maybe they were going to try to do something a little more cinematic with Bucky. I didn't necessarily think this probably will betray the fact as well that they're not going to pass the Captain America mantle to Falcon or Bucky, which I'm very excited about, by the way. I don't like passing of the mantle. Captain America is Steve Rogers. You don't take the costume and put it on somebody else. I like the Falcon. I like Bucky. They're not Captain America. Let Sam be Falcon and let Bucky be Winter Soldier, or just Bucky if he doesn't want the title Winter Soldier, which now, of course, is kind of tainted since he killed the Starks as the Winter Soldier and so forth. I can understand not taking that moniker. But yeah, so this is probably what they're doing, which leads me to believe that they're probably not going to replace Chris Evans in the near future. There's been a lot of ballyhoo, of course, when Avengers 4 wrapped, and Chris Evans is sort of giving his farewell speeches on Twitter and this and that, and everybody's like, "Oh, sad to see you go." Does that mean he's going to be replaced as an actor for Captain America, or does that just mean that it's toodaloo for now with the character? I don't know. I mean, I don't see the MCU surviving without a Captain America, without an Iron Man, without a Thor. Now, it's interesting because Thor, Chris Hemsworth and Robert Downey Jr. have been noticeably quiet. It's really Chris Evans who's been, giving off the aura of "I'm done. I'm done." I'm pretty sure that Robert Downey Jr. will come back if asked. I think it's going to depend solely on whether the MCU at large wants them, and they have no reason not to want him. He's box office gold. So I don't see Robert Downey Jr. really leaving anytime soon. Chris Hemsworth, I believe it's going to be, again, the same with Downey Jr., but I think it's going to be the money. It's just going to be the money is going to determine whether he comes back or not. I think he really wants to come back. They retooled Thor a little bit in Ragnarok to try to pump some life into the Thor franchise to give it its second legs. I think he'll be back, but as we've seen with the Star Trek controversy, where he kind of is backed out of negotiations with Star Trek 4, where he was going to play George Kirk again in a time travel escapade or something. It's going to depend on whether they're going to make it worth his while. Once these contracts are done, they expect to get a raise, these actors. You know what I mean? They're not going to come back for the same pay. And it's understandable, but you know, it's like sports, I mean, I really can't get that. I mean, you won't do the job for 14 million, but you'll do it for 23 million. I mean, freaking give me $1 million and I'll do the job, for you. Yeah, it seems kind of, it seems kind of petty to squabble over another $10 million. You know what I mean? Be thankful for the millions that you got when a lot of people are, working a lot tougher jobs that are, paying peanuts. Didn't want to get in my soapbox there, but I do, when you see sports and celebrities getting this amount of money, and it's like, and it's hard work, to be an athlete and to be in shape like these guys got to be, like Chris Hemsworth shape. I mean, come on, that's worth money. But to not do a film because they're not going to throw an extra dozen million, I mean, that's kind of petty in my opinion. All right, so what do you think about this? Bucky and the Falcon. The Falcon flies again, and Bucky returns in their own. They don't have a name for this yet, but the Disney Marvel streaming service. That's what I'm calling it anyway. So let me know what you think in the comments below about that. Okay, next we're going to take a look at some casting news here for, let's see. Let's stick with the Avengers. The Avengers. We've got some casting news here for the lovely and beautiful Catherine Langford. This is Catherine Langford, and she's very pretty. She is joining the cast of Avengers 4. Her credits include 13 Reasons Why from Netflix. I have no idea who she is, other than she's from Australia, I think. Australia. They have the beautifulest women. Okay, now there's a lot of controversy, well, not controversy, but a lot of speculation over what's going to happen with her character. Nobody really knows who she's playing. She's either going to play, at least this is the rumor, and the speculation seems to be that she's going to play an adult Cassie Lang, because we've seen that there is some time travel shenanigans apparently in this Avengers 4. The Time Stone is probably going to be an important conduit to them defeating Thanos. Or some are saying that she's going to play Kate Bishop, who is the female Hawkeye, which would signal that they are going to replace the Avengers characters with Marvel's SJW slate of characters, and would probably signal the downfall of the MCU. I'm hoping it's the former, needless to say, because I really don't need them to, make the female Thor, the female Hawkeye, the Asian Hulk. Um, Apparently they're not going to change Captain America. I think they're just going to leave him be. I don't know. Maybe they'll try to bring in Ms. Marvel. I don't know. But whatever way you look at it, that would be the death knell of the MCU. And a lot of people are afraid of this. They're thinking that what's going to happen is once we get the Carol Danvers Captain Marvel movie, it's going to set up the new Avengers, which will pretty much be what we've seen in the Marvel comics. Carl Manvers leading this, malcontent version of the Avengers, the sad and sorry crew, the sad and sorry lot, which I don't know who are they going to still have from the original. We haven't. We pretty much, I think, have heard that Doctor Strange will be getting a sequel, so he would probably still be in the Avengers. Apart from that, it's anybody's guess. Who do you think she's going to play, Miss Catherine Langford? Uh, I'm hoping it's probably going to be the adult Cassie. If not, they could make her any of a number of characters. I am still waiting desperately to see Spider-Woman in the MCU. She could be a what's her civilian name again? She-Hulk. What's her name? Jennifer something. I can't remember. But she could be the She-Hulk in her civilian identity before she becomes the She-Hulk, That could be a possibility. We could introduce She-Hulk that way. Because She-Hulk is the cousin of Bruce Banner, which, of course we still have, at least I'm pretty sure we still have Mark Ruffalo in Avengers 4. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting things. If I had to pick one of those, I would say Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, a really interesting story and a really fun character that deserves to be in the MCU. And I believe a member of the Avengers, so it wouldn't be too far out there to put her in the Avengers going forward. Spider-Woman would be interesting. Interesting story, interesting history for the character. All right, so let me know what you think in the comments below, and we will move on now to some more casting news. What the heck just happened there? Okay. I am having more problems than you can shake a stick at here with these. All right. Let's see. All right. Next up, we have some casting news for Joker. This is the Joker movie, the Joker origin movie, of course, with Joaquin Phoenix. They have cast a young Bruce Wayne actor. So we are going to get some Bruce Wayne in this film, if not Batman. Now, the interesting thing is that Bruce Wayne, of course, is going to be a child here. He looks very young. And the Joker is going to be already, at least if we go by the age of Joaquin Phoenix, in his 40s. And it's very interesting to see what they're trying to do here. I'm not sure. Some were suggesting this could be like an Elseworlds type movie or something. This doesn't have to fit in with the continuity of Batman as we know it, but still, we can't have Joker being 70 years old when Batman's out there doing his thing. So I was hoping, or at least I think it's still possible. I am hoping that what they're going to do is flash forward. Now there has been rumors. Now again, I don't deal in rumors that much. I only deal with them to try to give you a balanced idea of what I hear and what's going on. I did hear something about the Batmobile was seen at the set somewhere of the Joker movie. I don't know what Batmobile. Was it the one from Batman v Superman? I don't know. But supposedly there was a Batmobile on set, and it did bolster my hopes that perhaps there is going to be a flash forward. And I think I've talked about this before, but have the movie end with the famous origin of the Joker scene where he's falling into the vat of chemicals and Batman is there to try to save him and ultimately causes him to fall, at least in some incarnations. But I don't know. We'll see. All right, this actor, young Bruce Wayne, it will be played by Dante Piera Olsen, which is very interesting. He's a cute looking kid. I think he'll play a good Bruce Wayne. He's kind of what I would expect of young Bruce Wayne to look like, going down that famous alley for the 57th time. And over to our right here, Douglas Hodge as Alfred Pennyworth. So Alfred has been cast too. Now, I have to say he doesn't look anything like an Alfred to me. I mean, doesn't necessarily have to be too old to play Alfred, but he's got some girth to him. He doesn't have that kind of thin, I don't want to say gaunt, but sort of, he doesn't have that kind of aristocratic air either about him. The pencil thin mustache would be maybe a good, a good addition as well. But no, I don't really see it. But we've got some casting here for the movie, so we'll see how this goes. This is probably going to be just the minorest of minor roles in this movie. I don't imagine they're going to show the death of the Waynes. It's possible, of course. I don't know, but I would imagine that's why you cast, you know, Bruce and Alfred. Maybe would be to show the aftermath. Maybe after Thomas Wayne is killed. I again hope that they don't have the Joker kill Thomas Wayne. It seems very much like it's leading to that when you've seen the subway behind the scenes photos where I don't know, there's signs, people holding signs about Wayne is to blame and stuff. I don't know. I'm really hoping that's not the case. All right, so let me know what you think about this casting in the comments below for the Joker. All right, now this is an exciting story that just broke yesterday. One of my favorite actors is finally getting a role in a superhero movie. We have Ewan McGregor landing the role of Black Mask. Black Mask in the Birds of Prey feature film. Now, this is interesting. This is interesting. I can't wait to see him wear this mask. Really, I mean this has increased my interest in this movie 100-fold. Really, I really have no reason to want to see this movie because Kathy Yan, the director, has confirmed that it will be rated R, which I don't believe in. Rating comic book movies R for the most part. I mean, you have some graphic novel type movies or maybe something that is not mainstream, not mainline, continuity stuff, maybe. But you know, I don't see why you would rate Harley Quinn and Black Canary as a R-rated movie. You know, it's not going to be because of nudity, so I don't really know what it's going to be. I mean, if if you know we've learned anything from these R-rated movies, it usually is more graphic violence and some maybe language, some raunchy jokes, maybe. I don't know, but it doesn't need to happen. I would love to hear the Ewan McGregor's voice coming out of the black mask, though. That'll be sweet. Hello there. But yeah, I think it's pretty much confirmed. It was rumored at one point that they were in talks, but I think all the major outlets are now saying that it is ironclad. You can take it to the bank. Ewan McGregor will be playing Black Mask. So, what do you think about this? Again, I'm not 100% certain I'm even gonna see the movie. I'm not really that interested if it's gonna be rated R. Um, they also ruined the Black Canary casting by going woke, and that's something else that I'm not entirely interested in. But we'll see. We'll see how this carries on. Maybe it might be worth a view. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you think. What do you think in the comments below about Ewan McGregor being cast as the Black Mask? He hasn't really had another good role since Obi-Wan Kenobi, so I'm happy that he's getting something else here. Getting some good work. He was in Christopher Robin, which I think was supposed to be pretty good. I haven't seen it, but he's a good actor. That's talents has been wasted. His talents have been wasted. All right, so our final story, I believe this is our final story of the evening. We have, let's see, Wonder Woman being pushed back 7 months. Now, this has spawned some controversy. We got this image just cracks me up. I put it together myself, but we see the Flash just poking his head up. When is he going to get his movie done? Apparently, his movie is getting pushed to 2021 now to facilitate Ezra Miller's schedule, and he's not able to do it. So this long, long in the works Flash solo movie is once again going to be put off. As for Wonder Woman 1984 or Wonder Woman 84 is being pushed back 7 months to June 5th of 2020. So instead of coming out next year, it's coming out a whole year after. It was supposed to come out in November, I believe, of 2019, about a year away. Now it's going to be about a year and a half away. Why do we have our good friend and buddy here, the lovely Grace Randolph, in the picture? Because she is the one that has made some claims about this that some are saying are not true. But let's try to get down to the nitty gritty here and figure out what is going on. Now, Grace said that she has insiders because everybody has insiders. I don't have insiders. I just report the news. I don't really. I don't. I guess I don't get the journalistic contacts that most other people have. But according to her sources, the film Wonder Woman 1984 is being pushed back to facilitate some reshoots that would make it a soft reboot for the for the DC EU going forward. According to her video, I don't know how many videos she put out about this. The first one, she says the reason would be because Wonder Woman saves Steve Trevor and Steve survives, and somehow this changes history Flashpoint style. And I guess according to her, this was something that was going to be given to the Flash movie, that a Flashpoint movie was going to be made. And later we did hear this, that changes were made to the Flash storyline where they scrapped the Flashpoint part of it. And it's now just going to be a Flash adventure. So she does kind of have that going for her. And that Wonder Woman somehow, they're going to change it, that she's going back in time, ruining the timeline by saving Steve Trevor, and somehow going forward, this will be how they explain a different actor for Batman, and they'll finally be able to get the Batman off the ground, Matt Reeves, the Batman. And, possibly they'll be replacing Henry Cavill, which she's been sort of an active proponent, if not that they should, that they're going to, according to her sources, again, quote unquote. On the other side of this, we have Humberto Gonzalez, who has made his chops as El Miambi, and for several years have had his insiders give him scoops and telling how the you know inside story is going to go. As for his tweet, he said, no, Wonder Woman 1984 is not a soft reboot of the DCEU and is not being restructured to be the new Flashpoint. Those YouTube videos saying otherwise are inaccurate, bad, and, in all capital letters, false. So it's up to you. Who do you want to believe? Whose insiders do you want to believe? I am more inclined to believe that this is not going to be a Flashpoint style retooling. You know what I mean? I think what's going on here, I mean, because if it was a full Flashpoint, if they're going to do full Flashpoint, there, you would see Batman in there or this and that. That's not going to happen. This is a Wonder Woman movie. They're not going to put Batman in here and Superman and everything like that. So this is not Flashpoint. But I think in Grace's defense, I think she's not, I don't think she's saying that this is going to be a Flashpoint. I think she's saying they're pulling the Flashpoint with Wonder Woman, that Wonder Woman is going to be responsible for changing the timeline. Not that this is going to be Wonder Woman, the Flashpoint paradox. You know what I'm saying? But I don't believe that this is going to be the entry point for a soft reboot going forward. I don't think that's the case. I think this is just probably the basic reshoots that every film goes through. And I think they probably do want to put it back a couple of months to try to tie it into the MCU, I keep saying MCU, the DCEU going forward. Because you have to remember, right now, they're restructuring everything. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do with the Batman. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do with Superman, who's going to be Superman, what Superman's going to look like going forward. And so while they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with all this, I think they want to hold off on one of their big, heavy hitters. I think they want to place Wonder Woman in a situation where she will, and it's smart to do this, lead the charge. So they try to do it the other way with Superman. They did Superman, and they try to bring Batman in with Superman, and they try to bring in Wonder Woman with Batman in the Batman v Superman. I think what they're going to do here is sort of the reverse. They've got a winning formula with Wonder Woman. They're going to reintroduce the DCEU with Wonder Woman. Whatever they're going to do with Superman, they're going to bring it in. I don't know if it's going to be a post-credit scene. Some are saying they might still do that with Shazam. I don't think so. I think the ship has sailed for Shazam. They'll probably do a post-credit scene with Superman in Wonder Woman 1984. The Batman will probably be scheduled for some time in between Wonder Woman and Superman, I'm thinking. So I think this is sort of not a soft reboot, but I think they are going to, for all intents and purposes, reboot the stuff by sort of like reintroduction. In other words, we're going to reintroduce, because they kind of did that with Justice League, right? They kind of did that with Justice League with a better Superman, a better Batman, and the attitudes were better there. But that doesn't fly because it was still tainted by Zack Snyder. It still had Zack Snyder's, smell all over it. So we can't really go by that. So what they're going to do, I think, now is they're basically going to say, look, this is the new and improved DCEU. We're not rebooting. We're not saying that this is a new Wonder Woman or Jason Momoa or Harley Quinn going to change it all. Aquaman going to change it all. They're going to have the same cast in that respect. But we're bringing out to you the new version of Superman, the new version of Batman. If Henry Cavill decides to stay with it, it won't be so much a new version of Superman as much as just maybe a new direction. I do think that Ben Affleck is probably done. But if he isn't, so much the better. But see, the problem is I don't see Ben Affleck sticking with them long term. So that's why I say it's probably better just to cut ties with him now, if need be. Some are saying they could cut ties with Ezra Miller because, again, he's sort of the least of the cast. If they were to recast any of these characters, probably it would be in their best interest to recast him. I didn't dislike him. I thought he was pretty good. But again, you know, if they are going to do a major rehaul for the direction of the DCEU, I think the Flash also deserves to be retooled. I don't think he should be quite so goofy, and the costume needs an upgrade too. The costume was really not that great. All right, so let me know what you think here about all this news. Who do you believe? Do you believe Grace? Do you believe Umberto? Do you believe somewhere in the middle? Is this kind of what I said? Probably just kind of a more of a rebranding than a reboot? Are they going to try to roll out these properties trying to be sort of like the new and improved Justice League members? I guess we'll have to find out. We'll have to wait and see. Alrighty then. So, yes, once again, thank you for joining the show. And thank you for bearing with me through some of the technical difficulties. I'm going to see if I can eliminate some of those problems. Once again, check out the link in the description below for my Twitter page, and most importantly, to keep updated with my comic book, The Adventures of Bullets, Bourbon, Private Eye. I'm going to be doing a whole lot more videos, but the problem is, it's the end of the year. This is where my season kind of slows down for video production. Gonna keep doing some videos for this month of November. It's gonna decrease probably somewhat in December because of the holidays. But I again apologize. I wasn't able to get back to doing the Halloween videos that I wanted to do. I had nothing but trouble trying to get software that would facilitate me doing those old style videos. I think I should just go back to Windows Live Movie Maker. But I want to be doing some more videos about my book, The Adventures of Bullets, Bourbon, Private Eye. So check that out on my website and you'll get yourself acclimated to the world of Bullets, Bourbon. But I really got to seriously get in detail and talk about the book, as the new issue is going to be coming out pretty soon, God willing, because I still have some more work to do on it. But I would like very much for everyone to check it out so that you'll be ready for when the new issue comes out, where we are with it. Again, check me out on Twitter. The link is in the description below. And so, once again, until next we meet, this is Johnny Torch reminding you once again, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.